The affirmation for the week is, if I want something to change, I must change first. Sometimes we're in these situations and it's very easy to point the finger at someone else and say it's because of that person, it's because of this, it's because of that situation. But at the end of the day, the responsibility falls on ourselves. We are, most of us, adults, and we should take responsibility for ourselves and our lives and our current situation. And if we aren't happy with something, then we must take the necessary actions to make sure that the change that we seek happens, so that ultimately we can keep living in alignment with our values as people and being happy and full of bliss and abundance.
This is episode 138.
Hello and welcome to my podcast show, your coach, Helen Uskovic. This is the Micro Mindful Moments series, and this is where I reflect on 6 really important things of my week last week. Hello and welcome to another series of the Micro Mindful Moments. Here I go through 6 wonderful things just to reflect on the week that was, and I invite you as well to listen in and also think about your answers when it comes to these 6 areas. Now, the first point that I want to go through is what I learned last week. Now, what I learned last week is that your choices determine your actions. So anywhere that you are in life at the moment, whether it's a beautiful place, a stressful place, a happy place, a toxic place, just know that you are making choices that are helping to get you that outcome. And it takes a lot of responsibility and it takes a lot of removing ego to be able to admit that to yourself. But it's just something that's been coming up for me, especially last week. And so, I'm really mindful this week of the choices and actions that I'm taking this week. A beautiful moment that I had last week was just being consistent with my exercising. It was really good to make it a priority, make sure I get there, have it in my calendar, and there was no way anything else was going to stop me. And I felt amazing. My body feels strong. And the beauty is that, when you are in alignment with your values, life always seems a little bit easier. Now, a podcast or a book that I recommend, it's a book and it's called The Artist's Way by Julie Cameron. And this is great for those of you as well that are creative. It just gives you a lot of systems and things to put in place to make sure that you're reaching your full potential, because as an artist or a creative, we are always on this up and down journey of going full into our craft and then moving away from our craft. And there's a beautiful exercise called the morning pages in that book, which I have to start re-implementing into my life. It's just I haven't finished the book just yet. It's the second time I'm reading it through, but this time it's with a fresh set of eyes, and I'm sure you can relate that when you read books, sometimes the first time isn't you don't get all of the juice. All right, so what to improve for next week is my self-care. I have been exercising, but I usually do a lot more things for myself, and I just haven't been doing that recently, just because of life. And so this week I really want to focus on my self-care and doing things that just light me up. A tip, a hack, or a strategy that I'd like to share this week is to get a red light reading lamp for your room. I got mine from Block Blue Light, and I'll put a link in the show notes with my affiliate link. But having a red light instead of a blue light is so much more calmer, and it doesn't disrupt your sleep because there's no blue light being emitted. So at nighttime, if I need to do anything, I always just switch on the red light reading lamp because there's enough light to see everything. And it gives a beautiful red hue inside your bedroom, and it doesn't stress you out. So that's what blue light does, is it's very stimulating, and a red light is the opposite. So if you haven't invested in one, click on the link or copy the link in the show notes and go and get yours. The affirmation for the week is, if I want something to change, I must change first. If I want something to change, I must change first. Sometimes we're in these situations and it's very easy to point the finger at someone else and say it's because of that person, it's because of this, it's because of that situation. But at the end of the day, the responsibility falls on ourselves. We are, most of us, adults, and we should take responsibility for ourselves and our lives and our current situation. And if we aren't happy with something, then we must take the necessary actions to make sure that the change that we seek happens, so that ultimately we can keep living in alignment with our values as people and being happy and full of bliss and abundance. Well, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed today's show, and I'll see you next week. I hope you enjoyed the show today. Remember, you can jump on my Instagram to let me know your thoughts on my podcast show. I would love to see it. And if you have a moment, please share a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts so that we can help move the show along together. If you share a review, please send me a screenshot of it so that I can send you a thank you gift. Thank you for joining me on this week's episode. I'll see you next week for next week's episode. Bye.